All right, so going on day 3 of coronavirus, and I'm down here in my basement. Was getting ready to go to bed. I figured probably come down and have a drink and relax a little bit, and then head to bed. But I figured that I would talk to you guys, at least do something productive instead of sitting my ass coughing all day, doing nothing, playing the COVID card. So let me set that there. I will make myself a drink. Let's see. Okay, and I don't have any of my whiskey left. It's all at the office. That's the whiskey that we made. So let's do this. Springbank. That was a gift from our Vigilon for doing a decent amount of business with them. So I'll pour myself a wee little dram to help the COVID. Maybe that'll open up my sinuses a little bit, and then I'll head to bed. But in the meantime, I wanted to kind of get some content out there and see if I could help somebody else. Right, so let's see. One of the big things going on right now that everybody's freaking out about is inflation, right? So we are all seeing price increases across the board from every manufacturer. Even a manufacturer like a Vigilon that never raises prices, they just end of life something and release a new product, right? They had a couple of price increases in the last year. Axis increasing prices and no parts available. HID, same thing, increasing prices, no parts available. Honeywell, we've seen they did a press release a couple weeks ago, I think, that said not only are prices going up, but if your stuff is already ordered and on back order, it's going up. So, right, we all seem like this is really kind of the shit end of the stick. But at the end of the day, remember that inflation is it's the mismatch between the amount of money available and the amount of product there is to buy, right? So too much money and not enough product essentially is what it boils down to. So you use two sides to that equation. So number one, everybody's on a level playing field. We're all having trouble getting parts. So unless you were smart enough to buy a boatload of Axis 6 months, a year ago and sit on it, right, thinking you were going to make extra margin, nobody did that. Then you're in the same boat as everybody else. So this is a temporary thing for us that does have a silver lining at the end of the tunnel, right? So remember that as a business owner, as a security company owner, you should be looking at everything in percentages. So, your revenue is 100% of the money that comes in. Your cost of goods deducts from that 100%, right? Your expenses deducts from that percent, and at the end you're left with a net percentage. If you're following profit first, then that equation is a little different. But at the end of the day, if the number of dollars that you have to pay for a certain part is going up, and the percentage stays the same that you get to mark that product up, then your total dollars that you're going to be left with at the end is higher. So the only people who win in an inflation situation like we've got now is people who own businesses, is people who use money to make a percentage return on that money. In our case, it's cost of goods or payroll, right? The cost of the hour if you're paying a technician. So it's really important to note that, yes, it's really difficult to get stuff right now. It's really difficult to get good employees right now, to get knowledgeable technicians. But at the same time, know that the investment you're making in your business right now while you're doing that is going to yield better returns in the long run. And that sucks, right? I mean, I love my country. I hate the way we are looking at economics right now. I think it's terrible. But at the end of the day, I'm personally positioned to be one of the people who takes advantage of that in the long run. And so are all of you, because you're all business owners as well, right? So keep that in mind, and if anything, look at this as an opportunity to educate and protect the employees that that you need to stick around for the long run. The people that have become part of a fabric of your business, right? The key employees that are, and we all want everybody to be like that, but you know, the fact is people have to earn that. It takes time, right? So time and loyalty and the ability to learn and frankly, some of the things that a lot of employees out there are missing. But once they do, make sure that you're taking this time to educate them and show them how things work economically. At the end of the day, do whatever you have to do right now to get the projects done, right? We're doing partial installs when we have to, and getting and doing partial invoices to get projects moved forward, because otherwise we would be sitting ducks. So you have to continue to do that, and also you have to serve your customers well, in that if you don't get it done now, the price is going to go up next month or next quarter, just because of how quickly inflation is affecting our industry. I mean, it's not a matter of of if it will go up, it's a matter of how much it will go up. Like I said, we've seen vendors have 2, 3, 4 price increases in the last year. No, you know, it's a pain in the ass right now, right? And you may lose money if something you quoted 6 months ago comes through now. You're going to lose a percentage of your operating capital. You're going to lose a little bit of your operating profit. But in the long run, you as the owner, the business itself, is going to come out ahead. You have to make sure that you're adjusting your pricing, and you have to make sure that you are educated enough in how to operate the business and how to run the business. You have to know that everything is based on a percentage. And if you're okay with a 5% net, you know, 5% net of 10% more revenue is more money. So, you know, that money's not going to go as far. So you have to position the business properly so that any increase in revenue is seen in the bottom line. Because right now, if you're not seeing a minimum of 8% increase in revenue while maintaining your profit margins the same, your net margins, then you're actually losing money compared to last year. So we're seeing, you know, anywhere from 6 to 12% inflation per year, which is insane. But we pick the middle ground at 8%. If you're not growing by 8% and maintaining your net profit, then you are losing. You're losing. So you have to figure out a way to either reduce your expense to keep enough money at the end of the day to keep the business operating, or you've got to find a way to increase your margin, which is difficult because right now prices are already increasing. So the good news there is labor rates across the country are going up because labor cost is going up, because the taxes associated with labor are going up, because fuel is going up, because vehicles are going up. You know, what is like a 35% increase in the cost of used vehicles in the last year. So all of that stuff is going up. However, I will caution you, be careful with increasing your labor pricing. You know, when in doubt, increase the labor rate, right? But you can only do that so many times. So make sure that you have to, and when you do, make sure that you've done the math right and that it's covering everything you need it to cover, okay? If you're increasing your labor rate, and then a month later you're increasing it again, and then a month later you're adding a trip charge, and then a month later you're saying, oh, well, you know, we need to raise the labor rate again, but only for these kinds of customers. No, don't do that. That's going to piss off your customers. It's going to confuse your employees. Don't do that. Do it once and make sure that you've done the math right. Figure out what it costs to operate your vehicles, what the cost of your loans is on a monthly basis, divide that by the number of hours that they work, and get to your bottom line, which is going to be $1 burden per hour invested, okay? You should know that number for your business, like your birthday, like the last 4 of your social, any of that stuff. That number should be second nature to you, and you should redo that number every quarter. What you're looking for is how much it costs you to send a guy out for 1 hour, and the way that you get there is you take all of your overhead, and you add it all up, all of it in any given month. And you take the number of hours that you have at your disposal for technicians to be out, okay? And that gives you $1 per hour on your overhead. Over and above that, you need to include their salary and their bonuses and their benefits and their taxes that you pay. Once you've done that, that'll give you a number, which is essentially going to be your break-even number for every hour that you invest in a technician. So that's going to be pretty scary, because that number is going to be a lot higher than you think it is. But once you do that, you'll start to question every dollar that it costs more to buy a van, every 10 cents that fuel goes up, and every $1 per hour that a new employee who's unproven tells you that they think they're worth. Now, the ones who are worth it are gold. We love them, right? But not everybody is. So at the end of the day, number one to remember from this video, inflation sucks for everyone. Number two, the only people who have a chance to come out ahead with inflation are people who own businesses or people who turn money to buy product for a percentage, right? Whether they're an owner or a trunk slammer or whatever they are, but somebody who buys assets and turns them. Essentially, we do that with cost of goods. Number three, you probably need to raise your labor rate, but don't do so willy-nilly. Look at the numbers, look at the math, and then put that out there properly, okay? Number four, are we on 4? Is that right? Yeah, don't get COVID. It sucks. Anyways, I'm Armando with Security Owners Group. Here's to changing the industry and building better security companies, all right? Everybody have a great week. I'm going to finish my drink and I'm going to go to bed.